What's going on, guys? It's Tommy, and I'm coming at you with an action figure review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Hasbro The Black Series Rebel Trooper and Stormtrooper from Episode 4, A New Hope. This is the second edition of Hasbro's newest little 2-pack army builder line they've been doing, and I have the Phase 2 Clone Trooper and Battle Droid one. That one was really cool, and this one I'm hoping will be just as cool. I don't have a Rebel Trooper in my collection yet personally. I do have a few Stormtroopers now. Always happy to add another trooper to the ranks and to add a Rebel Trooper. I did pick this up on a pre-order through Hasbro Pulse, and Hasbro Pulse is a solid service. This was an exclusive through them first, and then it kind of went out to more of the fan channels and things like that, but I was happy to get my hands on this one in a timely fashion. So as you can see, this is plastic-free packaging. You do have some art here of both the characters kind of going head-to-head with the Black Series logo. You have your A New Hope name in that orange color, as well as the characters' names at the bottom again. The sides kind of show the start of the drawings of the characters, and then the back is pretty much identical to the front, just have all your legalese there, more legalese on the bottom, and then on the top you do have your Black Series logo. I will say this is smaller packaging as well. It's a little bit shorter than some of the other Black Series figure releases, but that's okay because this is a troop builder pack. This is meant for you to buy multiple of and open up for your collection. So let's get this one opened up and check out the figures. Alright, here are both the figures out of the box. Before we get into the figures themselves, let's check out the accessories. The Stormtrooper just comes with one accessory, that being his trusty E11 blaster rifle. This is the standard blaster for the Stormtroopers. You'll see this is the one with kind of the extended magazine and the flashlight attachment there, and it's just done in a black sculpt. There's no kind of wash or paint or anything like that. Pretty standard again for a Stormtrooper. Our Rebel Trooper comes with his Rebel Fleet helmet here. You'll see that it's just a white sculpt, very shiny with a bit of black paint here and then some silver on the antenna. A classic look from the first movie, and I'm glad to have this design in my collection. He also comes with his, I believe this is the DH-17 blaster. It's kind of an in-between of a blaster pistol and a blaster rifle. You got some nice paint applications for the silver on the front of the blaster on a black sculpt. Sculpted detail looks great on this, and so does the blaster. And then finally, you get some Death Star plans. So this is a cool little inclusion. It's on a white sculpt with some silver paint applications as well as some gold. This is actually really cool. I actually might pose this guy on my Rogue One shelf as the guy who screams launch after they're running for their lives from Darth Vader at the end of the movie. This is great right here. Alright, with accessories out of the way, let's first take a look at the Stormtrooper here. This is your standard Stormtrooper for the Black Series. You kind of know what you're getting into. There's really nothing different about this one. You'll see he's got the greenish lenses on the helmet as well as the brow across. A little bit of gray for the spots on the sides of the helmet, and then a bluish color for the little slits here, and then you have his chin filter is painted as well as some black and silver for the little bits next to it, and then the teeth of the grill here are painted silver and black, and he's even got some paint on the back of the helmet too, so very nice detail there. And then he's got some black paint here for the little buttons on the front of the midsection, and he's got some gray for the thermal detonator on the back of the belt. Aside from that, this is a Stormtrooper. He's been released several times now in the Black Series line, so you really know what you're getting into with this guy. To cover his articulation real quick, he has a double ball jointed neck, which is going to give you some really good articulation. He can look down quite a bit. He can look up a good amount as well. He can get just a little bit of tilt there, which is good, and obviously you can turn that head side to side. The shoulder armor is on an O-ring system, and then the shoulders themselves have a butterfly joint, so you can see you can get some really nice range out of that butterfly joint there, and they do swivel a full 360 degrees. Just be mindful of moving the shoulder armor with it, because again, once you lift up those arms, the shoulder armor can move independently of the arm. So if you want to do a full 360, just be mindful of that. He's got some deep cut single jointed elbows here. Those bend well past that 90-degree mark, giving you a really nice bend at the elbow as well as a swivel. He's got a vertical wrist joint in the right hand here, as well as a horizontal wrist joint joint in the left hand. He's got a ball joint here at the midsection, which has some really good range to it as well. A ball joint at the hips, which also has some really nice range. He's got a cut for a thigh swivel on both legs. It's deep cut single jointed knees, which do bend again past that 90-degree mark, looking great, and those also feature a swivel. And then down at the ankles here, you have a forward-facing pin for rocker, a little bit of forward, and a little bit of back. So overall, this is very standard articulation for the Black Series in 2024, and this is a fine addition to your collection, a fine figure, one of the best articulation schemes right now. As for our Rebel Trooper, he's got some nice painted detail on the face. You can see the eyebrows are done in a little bit of a gray color. The eyes look really nice, and then the mouth is also painted just a little bit. His hair sculpt looks really, really good, very, very late 70s. He's got that black vest, which is a sculpted piece, kind of a rubbery overlay, looks good, and he's also got the blue shirt underneath. The belt buckle is painted in a nice silver color, and other than that, that's really all you get with this guy. You don't get much for paint applications, and again, that's okay. These are troop builders. I don't need them to be the most intricately detailed, most heavily paint-apped figures to ever exist. They're simple, and they're meant to be masked up. This guy's articulation is going to be a little older of a scheme because this is an older figure, so you're going to have a single jointed neck instead of that double jointed neck. So with that, he can actually look down. He can look up, almost not at all. No tilt whatsoever, maybe just a little bit if you try really hard, and he can twist that head back and forth. He does have butterfly joints as well. Those have some really, really nice range too. I believe this is one of the first figures in the Black Series to feature the butterfly joint. The arms can get you to about 90 degrees, and they do swivel. It's got some deep cut single jointed elbows, which are going to get you well past 90 degrees, and those do swivel as well. A vertical hinge here on the right wrist, and a horizontal hinge on the left wrist. He's got a ball joint at the midsection with some really nice range of motion. Some ball joints at the hips, which also have really nice range of motion. He's got a cut for a thigh swivel here at the mid leg. Really ugly pinned double jointed knees. This is what Black Series used to be doing for their signature style of articulation on the legs. They get some really, really nice articulation range, but when you look at them from the front, it just looks really ugly. So I prefer the single jointed look. And then he does have a forward facing pin for rocker down here at the ankles. He's got some really good forward on that ankle hinge, as well as some good back too. Again, good articulation, but not as good as the Stormtrooper. With that being said, they still do hold up to each other. Now for our Stormy, he has no weapon storage, but he can hold his blaster very, very well. And as you can see, he passes the shake test with that in hand. He can also hold the blaster in two hands very easily for a nice little kind of at attention, low ready stance. For our Rebel Trooper, let's get that helmet on. So I assume you kind of slide that on from back to front. The chin strap fits very nicely on the helmet, and it doesn't look too wonky. It doesn't look too big. This looks exactly how it should. Blaster pistol does feature some weapon storage, so it does have a holster here. You can actually just slip that blaster right into the holster, and it will sit in there very, very nicely. Shaking the figure around, it's not going anywhere, but we want to have this in hand here. So you can fit the trigger finger into the trigger guard very, very easily. Shake test is passed on him as well. And then of course we would also get him into a two-handed pose. So they can both kind of be standing at their low ready stance there. Here we've got our Rebel Trooper and our Stormtrooper in some nice battle poses here. I tried to emulate poses you would see when they're fighting on the Tantive 4 in the beginning of A New Hope. So the kneeling stance for the Rebel soldier here, and then the kind of very clunky looking blaster holding stance for the Stormtrooper. It's very, very fitting from the movie, and I think this, if you like the originals, you should definitely get this 2-pack. The Death Star plans will fit nicely into the left hand. They will pass the shake test too, so you can actually get some pretty good poses here. And here I've got both of them in some one-legged poses. I would imagine that the Rebel Trooper is running from the Stormtrooper with the Death Star plans here. Pretty nice little scene you can recreate. So overall, I'd say you should definitely get this pack. I know I've seen some complaints from other collectors and reviewers that the face on the Rebel Trooper should be swappable to make it different people. I think this just gives enough generic guy character enough for me that I would be fine just putting multiple of these on my shelf. I think that they're uniform, they're troop builders. Again, it's not supposed to be like, oh, the individuals when it's a troop builder situation. If it was named characters, I'd feel completely different, but I think that this guy looks generic enough that you could kind of stick him anywhere for an original trilogy display, and I think it's a good army builder pack. And with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. questions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. Make sure to check out my social media. All my links are in the description below. That'll be all for the review today, guys. I'll catch you for the next one. May the Force be with you.